Good morning. Welcome to 49ers in 5, your daily update on everything happening with the team that you need to know. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera. Today is Friday, May 3rd, 2024. Here's what's happening with your San Francisco 49ers. General Manager John Lynch was a guest on the Pat McAfee show on ESPN yesterday, and he said a few interesting things that I have for you here. First up, John was pretty blunt. Any possibility of trading Deebo Samuel and Brandon Aiyuk is officially off the table.
I'm doing everything in my power to keep our roster together. And that's my goal. And I don't question that. I've got so much belief. When you talk about guys like Brandon Aiyuk and Deebo, they're guys we drafted. They're guys we take a lot of pride in what they've become, who they've become. And we couldn't be more proud of those guys. And so, during the course of drafts and off seasons, do conversations happen? Absolutely, they do. We're past that now. And, we're thrilled to add to that group Jawan Jennings, Brandon Aiyuk, Deebo Samuel, Chris Conley, Ronnie Bell, Danny Gray, and now you add Ricky Pearsall, Jake Cowing. I think we made an already strong group even stronger. And part of my job is to think about the now and then to think into the future as well. Think out. But we don't do that without thinking, can these guys contribute right away? And we have a vision for both those guys, how they can contribute and be a part. They represent a lot of the qualities that we like in our players. And they were the best players there for us at the time. And so we're thrilled to add those guys to an already strong room. And we're ready to roll forward. And we've got to find a way, like I said, just to get that much better. And we think we really helped our roster throughout this offseason, free agency, into the draft. And we're fired up about our team.
Speaking of that roster, John, just how do you go about identifying the players and specifically the incoming rookies that you want to add to that roster?
We want guys that are contagiously competitive. We have a standard. Once that standard's set, if you think the guy's made of the right stuff, he may not have been asked to block like that in college. So you have to do some predicting of, let's get to know the person. What was he asked to do? Are you willing to do that? And so those are the people we try to bring in, like-minded people. And we have a standard in which we play. And the players, it's up to them to uphold that standard. Kyle says often, his roots are as a wide receiver. He played wide receiver in college. He coached wide receiver as the first position. But those guys set the tone for an offense on the physicality of your team.
One more for you now. Of course, Lynch was on with Pat McAfee. We know Pat's going to have fun. And yes, apparently he did see that photo of Brock Purdy throwing.
He's jacked too, huh? Was that Photoshop I saw on the internet, or is he?
Yeah, Brock's taking good care of himself. He's a worker. He's always going to work. I mean, last year, you remember he, against Philly in the championship game, tore up his elbow and just kept watching him beat timelines. And he kept saying, I'm going to be fine. I'll be there, come training camp. And, kind of against all odds, he made it back. And we're blessed to have Brock Purdy around this organization.
There was way more in the interview. Lynch was there, like I said, for about a half hour. So he talked about his path to becoming the GM, how he got involved with football after his playing career in the first place. Pretty cool listen. Highly recommend you go and check it out. We always give you one thing to read, one thing to watch, and one thing you might have missed. One thing to read on this Friday. Kyle Posey of Niners Nation did a nice little film breakdown of the way Ricky Pearsall was used at Florida and how a lot of that matches up with what Kyle Shanahan is going to want to do with him in the NFL. Really cool article. If you want to read it, click the link in the description of this episode. One thing to watch. Thor Nystrom is going to be back with the Gold Standard Podcast Network. He joined me from Fantasy Pros before the draft to, make some predictions and talk about best fits for the Niners. Now that we have the class, so many of you like the video, we're going to bring Thor back, get his breakdown of that. That's going to be on Saturday. I'm going to interview him Saturday morning, so I'll try to get it up later that day for you. One thing you may have missed, the Dallas Cowboys officially declined to pick up Trey Lance's fifth-year option. This is not a surprise because if they did, they would have had to pay him about $22 million guaranteed. They're already paying Dak Prescott a ton of money, so there was no chance they were picking up this fifth-year option. I have no idea why the Dallas Cowboys made this trade and gave up a fourth-round pick, but I sure am thankful for it. That's a wrap on today's 49ers in 5. Please rate, review, and follow the Gold Standard Podcast Network. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Click the bell. You'll get notified every single time we go live, which is every single weekday for you. Today, I will be live with Michelle Majuk, 9:15 a.m. Pacific time. Get her thoughts on the draft class. I know she was texting me throughout. She was not happy with some of the picks, but we'll see what she has to say. Enjoy your Friday and your weekend, everybody. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera. We'll talk later today.